Hey everyone, this is Joe. This is a Feedback Friday episode, and I just wanted to give a special thanks and a plug for all my callers who also happen to be podcasters. So first of all, special thanks to Spencer, who made his first time call this week. Spencer's the host of the Keep Off the Borderlands podcast from the United Kingdom, which is pretty cool. We also have some of our regular callers, which would be Jason from the Nerds RPG Variety Cast, Evil Jeff from the Minions and Musings podcast, and Daniel from the Bandits Keep podcast. All four of these are excellent podcasts. I suggest you give them a listen. Links are in the show notes. Let's get started.
Mail call from the United States of America.
Hi, you have reached the Decahedron RPG Cast feedback line. Just start talking at the sound of the tone.
Joe, it's Evil Jeff, calling you from the car. Just listen to you and Val talking about what she likes, science fiction, fantasy, everything. I really appreciate the episode. Was I trying to prompt you to get more information about her? A little bit, and that was more of a, if you were willing to share thing, but, you know, you and I both know as not science people, as computer people, you know, you don't volunteer information that easily, especially if it can be used to hunt and track you down, etc. Not that I would do that on a normal basis. Anyway, so we're really appreciate about that. And for Val, I know a lot of women that like horror more than they do science fiction and fantasy. And that's not a really uncommon thing. I believe, you know, my wife would watch some horror stuff before she watched some types of science fiction. She'll watch fantasy stuff and things like that. She's definitely not one of those that Marvel name is on it, she's got to watch it, but she does enjoy the Marvel movies for the most part. So, yeah, really nice that you joined him, and I think y'all got a good banter back and forth, and we just got to work on levels, it sounded like, because, yeah, Joe, you were just a little bit muffled at the very beginning, but you can fix that. Anyway, great to have a show with you, too. We'll catch you later.
Well, thanks for that, Evil Jeff. I'm actually joined by Val to answer this call and a couple others that we have from some other callers. I'm going to agree with you on the thing that you said about horror movies. I think actually horror movies are very popular with women, and I think I would almost say that they're more popular with women than with men.
No, I disagree. I think that's because, no offense, but you are a computer nerdy boy, and so you guys don't tend to like that kind of stuff, and you don't typically hang out with, like, I don't know, I won't say average women, but like you hang out with nerdy girls, so that's kind of typical. So yeah, I will disagree with you.
So you're saying that it's selection bias?
Actually, yeah.
Okay.
I would say yes.
But I was going to, you know, in the days before you, there were non-geeky women that I dated, and they were big into horror movies and not like the sci-fi stuff. So based on my experience,
I do not believe that you dated anyone who was not geeky at all. I do not believe that in any way, shape, or form. So no, I believe you to be incorrect.
All right. What else did he say that I wanted to comment on? He said the thing about the levels. So yeah, this is a very different setup from like how I normally record the podcast and everything. Normally I do it on a microphone on the computer. This I'm doing on a portable Zoom One recorder that I have some lavalier mics plugged into. If you sneak around YouTube, you might find some very horrible videos that we did like 10 years ago. No, gonna be 2016. So whatever that would work out to be. But these are the mics that we use for those. We were doing that on camera and everything. Trying to dial in the levels on the mics there. There was something else. There was something else he said.
So he also mentioned about the difference in the levels. Just to be clear here, I'm loud. Just being honest, I am a little loud.
So today we messed a little bit with mic placement. Hers is a little lower, mine's a little higher. So our thought, oh, and I also turned off auto leveling on the mic because I think that was getting the recorder. I think that was getting confused. I had manual level set, but one of the disadvantages of the Zoom H1 is that it only has one level for both inputs. So, yeah, you were trying to draw out more information and stuff. I would say that I wasn't ignoring it. I was just kind of blind to that social cue. My wife says I'm occasionally blind to social cues.
That would be true. and yes, it does typically go with you and people like you that you don't give out information. If you want to know something, you have to ask because you don't volunteer anything. So that must be a common thing because he said it too. So I thought that was kind of funny.
All right, let's go to the next call.
Hey, Jason here. Just listened to your latest episode. Great episode. It was great hearing Val in the episode. I'm looking forward to your vacation adventure podcast. That's going to be wonderful. I will put on the evil Jason hat for a minute and say that I actually agree with Val that tonally heavy metal and The Fifth Element are quite different. But there are things that are definitely influenced in The Fifth Element. If you rewatch the first sequence in heavy metal with Henry Canyon, the taxi driver, and compare that to Bruce Willis's character, was it Corbin Dallas in The Fifth Element, you'll see a heck of a lot of similarities. It's really hard to believe that Luc Besson did not watch heavy metal, wasn't influenced by that. That said, I agree they are totally different. So, anyhow, great episode. It was really enjoyable to listen to, and I'm looking forward to the new podcast as well. Take care. Talk to you soon.
Thank you for that call, Jason. I almost said evil Jason again. As for Vacation Adventures, yeah, we are working on the ideas. In fact, just yesterday we were talking about if we do it on video, where in the house we could shoot it. That would have, the right kind of light, or we could set up the equipment. I don't know. As for our actual Vacation Adventures, our big vacation this year isn't actually all that adventurous. It's Disney. I feel that's like something everybody does.
But I've never done that. So for me, that's a huge adventure. I've never been. So this is a big thing.
Yeah, I'm just saying it doesn't come under the heading, I think, of adventure travel. I think it's going to be a great vacation and everything, and I think we're going to have a lot of fun. I just want to call it adventure travel, except some of the things we're talking about doing off-property, the Discovery Cove thing, where we're going to swim with the fishes.
Not swim with the fishes. We're swimming with the dolphins.
I think that sounds cool.
I'm super excited about that.
So the other thing was heavy metal. I have never seen heavy metal, so I can't say anything. Oh,
you are not missing anything. So it's funny because after he said that, I was like, oh, absolutely. That character is so similar to the taxi driver in heavy metal. It's like the same laid back, even some of his mannerisms. But I do think a lot of that, Bruce Willis is like that anyway. So that kind of goes hand in hand. But yeah, I would agree with him that's definitely very similar.
So I remember around that time frame, high school time, right after high school, somewhere around there was an animated film with Daryl Hannah. Was that?
I don't think so.
Heavy metal?
I don't think Daryl Hannah had anything to do with heavy metal. I'd be surprised if she did. I can't imagine her being involved in that.
I bet Jason will be able to tell me what movie am I thinking about it, animated with Daryl Hannah from 1980 to 84-ish.
I mean, the heavy metal movies from 1981. Yeah, definitely Daryl Hannah's not in that at all. I don't see her name anywhere on here. And I wouldn't say it's I get it's a cartoon, but I mean, this should give you some idea. Whore number 2 is a person in this movie. So
who?
Whore number 2.
Oh.
Yeah, it's weird because it's a cartoon, but there's nudity and kind of a sex scene, and yeah, I don't know. I mean, we went to see it because it was the thing to do, and everybody went, and we went in a big group, and we had a good laugh, but not my thing. The music was okay at the time. I liked that kind of music, not so much now.
While you're talking, I just brought up Daryl Hannah's filmography. I don't see anything, so I'm either crossing her with somebody else in my head, or I'm inventing this whole movie out of nothing. I don't know. Jason, help me out. Animated movies from the 80s. And I want to say it was black and white, but I don't know. Maybe it was heavy metal. I don't know.
No.
But maybe it wasn't Daryl Hannah. Maybe it was like Bo Derek or something. All right. Thanks for that call, Jason. Let's go to our next call.
Hey, Joe. Daniel Fernandez keep calling in. Really great episode with Val. Thanks for that. It was pretty cool listening to you guys talk about both your love of, sci-fi and such, and also your travel. So I'm looking forward to that podcast when it comes out as well. I wanted to say, like, as Val was saying things like, the girls don't typically whatever like this. I guess I've just been around different or weird, maybe interesting, I'll say is maybe a better word, girls, because most people that I know that are females that I hang out with on a regular basis anyways do indeed like sci-fi and these kind of things. I wonder if part of it comes down to, changing times. Maybe if I think back to my youth, maybe that's true. The girls probably didn't, engage in that as much. But I think, thankfully, today people seem to be more open to different types of people enjoying different things and not trying to pigeonhole people. So that's a good part about the world we live in today, anyways. So I thought that was pretty cool. But also I had a couple questions. So, I'm on the fence about Foundation. So I would be interested, maybe when the season's over, because I think it's coming out 1 week at a time, right? For you guys to talk more about that, because I don't know, second season, I don't want to do spoilers, but I feel like the book, even in the first season, really got the story got so far off of the themes of the original book that I just don't quite, I have to reconcile that in my head. Not that the movie's different, but that I feel like even the themes of it are much different. But anyways, that's, that maybe is another call-in. But what I wanted to say as well was, I'm curious, question for Val, I guess, standing outside, rained a lot yesterday, so I'm dumping water off stuff, does she like other things like board games and video games and stuff like that, or just no games whatsoever? Is she, she might not like role-playing games because she didn't seem to like the performative part, but I wonder if she likes board games and things like that. So I'd be curious, if she wants to answer, or if you want to ask her and then answer, or that would be amazing, because I'm curious. I'm curious where she stands on that, because I definitely know people that like I have a great friend that loves video games but does not like role-playing games. So, there you go. Anyways, great episode. I'll talk to you soon.
Hey, Daniel, thanks for that call. The first thing you said was, what was it? Maybe it's different times. I think that's a shadow way of saying we're old.
We are old. What do you mean? I do think times are different. There's definitely more girls that like that kind of stuff. But I also think we travel in different circles of people that we hang out with. So maybe that has something to do with it too.
Yeah, but I was going to say, other than the, crack at us being old, now I think times are changed. What used to be so-called geek culture is much more mainstream now. Between things like Big Bang Theory and Stranger Things featuring Dungeons & Dragons and Community, they had Dungeons & Dragons in it. And of course, the Marvel series is like the highest grossing series of movies and all that stuff. I think what used to be firmly geek culture is now mainstream. And I think that's a big part of it.
I would agree with that. I definitely think there's a big difference now. It's more acceptable. Plus, there was a time there when nobody was like, everybody was kind of, nerdy people. Nobody wanted to hang out with them. Now, the nerdy people are kind of the cool people. So that's kind of nice, actually.
As for the travel podcast, I think it's neat how all these people are saying that they want to listen to it. So I was afraid how we're going to get any audience at all. So now I know we have at least 3 people.
Well, at least we have a couple. Lauren might listen. That's my daughter. She'll listen if no other reason to make fun of us.
Oh, yeah. And as for Foundation, you said little early spoilers, but the last episode actually came on Friday. We're recording this on Monday, so we watched it yesterday. I said before on another show that we are militant binge watchers. If they're doing that thing where they feed out an episode every week, we won't watch the show until it's done. Or until we say, well, if we start now, by the time that will we be up to it when the last episode's out? And that's what we did for this, for season 2. We'd watched season 1. So I think the benefit we have for Foundation is we never read the books.
Yeah, I definitely think that makes a difference. I know I'm a big Stephen King fan. I've read everything he's done. any of the books that they made into movies, some of the movies were pretty good. Some of them were not. But I always have a harder time if I've read a book and love that book. If I don't care about the book, then I don't really care if the movie follows it. But when I really love a book and they totally kill it when they do the movie, it makes me mad. So maybe that's the thing that he's talking about, because maybe he really liked the book and then it's not following it, because that does make up for a problem if you've read the book and you kind of have expectations for it.
Yeah, and I remember when we first started watching it saying there has to be some major changes here anyway, because this was a book written in the 1950s, and there's no way that in the 1950s they were having a black female with such a major role.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So, and that's not, why are they giving these white male roles to black female? I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying there had to be changes, because I couldn't see that being a thing in the original books, because
not for when it was written.
Yeah, the country wasn't going to accept that at that time. So I view that as a good. I don't mind when they make changes like that when it works. For some reason, when they changed Starbuck in Battlestar, I didn't think that worked for me, and I don't know why. I can't say why that worked and why that didn't. But we're getting way off topic here. But as for following the themes and everything, not knowing what the original themes were, I can't say. I will say, overall, I liked season 2. It seemed to meander and not really know where it was going for a bit.
Yeah, I kind of felt that too. It wasn't... The first season kind of moved along, and you got to know everybody, and things just kind of went where they went. Try not to give away stuff. The second season, I thought it was a little wishy-washy. Still enjoyed it, though.
The ending was good.
Yeah.
And I feel like they started with the end and tried to figure out where they would have to go to get there.
Maybe.
And did it from that way. And by the ending, I mean the second to last episode, because we watched the last episode and we were like, they could have put this in like 10 minutes more in the last episode and called it a day.
Yeah.
But on a gaming-related note, I think, having watched this, that this is what Valerie's not in her head, and she has no idea what I'm going to say, so I'm kind of curious what she thinks I'm going to say. I think that this is what Mark Miller had in mind when he wrote Traveler, and that their Third Imperium and their empire and how that worked. But I knew you didn't think I was going to say that, would you?
Not exactly that. I knew you were going to go to a gaming thing about that, though, because that fits in with a lot of the stuff that you talk about.
Oh, all right.
So I kind of knew where you were going.
Okay. And the last thing that Daniel said was, so you don't like role-playing games. Do you like other games?
So I like some board games. I think the problem is so again, I grew up with 2 older brothers. My older brother was the biggest cheater on the planet. He could shuffle a deck of cards, and if you were playing cards, he could win every single time. He used to beat the kids at school all the time and win tons of money. But you could never catch him cheating. But he also cheated at board games. I'm not sure how, but he did. So it was just a thing. So I do like some board games. I don't know. I think as I get older, I kind of get away from those. Video games, though, I used to spend a lot of time in the arcade. I was either in the arcade or in the skating rink when I was in high school, and even sometime after that. We had a Wii, we had an Xbox, we had a PlayStation. I'm like, we definitely like video games. There's no question about that. I don't get to play them as often. So yeah, and we have, I can't remember what they're called. It's those cards that we play.
Flux, F-U-L-X-X.
Oh, loved those. Those are great.
Yeah, that's not really a high strategy game, because that's one of the games where the rules change every time you throw down a card.
I know, but it was fun.
So you really can't play it ahead. It's just, let's have a good time.
But it's still a game.
Yeah,
it's not a board game, but I mean, I liked, I played backgammon a lot when I was in high school and after high school.
I love backgammon.
Haven't played in years.
How about AC-Deucey? Ever do AC-Deucey?
Yeah, I don't like that one.
Like backgammon, but you don't have to remember the starting position, because you start there and just...
Yeah, that's all right.
All right.
I'm trying to think what other ones. I Hate Life. Never liked that game. Worst game on the planet. I played a lot of the little kids games, but that was because I had a kid. So, I mean...
So I didn't like Life. There's one called Careers that I like.
I don't think I've ever heard of that one.
Yeah, it's one of those that, came out in the 50s, and they re-release it like every 10 years. And It's kind of what I feel they should have called that one Life and called Life something else. But yeah, because you start off, you pick a career and you go around the board. But yeah, it's. But what I like about it is that before the game begins, you choose your victory condition, which is so much happiness, so much fame, and so much fortune.
Oh, that might be fun.
And depending on your career, you get different amounts of those as you go along. And nobody knows how many of each you're trying to get until you say, hey, I won. Other than the total has to be 10, I think.
Yeah, I think board game wise, I don't like stuff that I have to plan. So like I love checkers, Chinese checkers, the little games that have the little pegs in them you have to jump over and stuff. But like chess, never wanted to learn chess. To me, that's too much stress. I want to just have fun when I'm doing stuff. I don't want to be stressed about it.
So we used to play a game called Score 4. That was with the pegs, trying to get 4 in a row.
Yeah.
That
That's not bad.
I'm a fan of that. And then there was another one of those that we bought in Lake Placid the first time that we really enjoyed. And then I'm really a big fan of Beach Route and the House of the Hill. And I do have a copy of the newest print of Dungeon, which we haven't played yet because we haven't had game night since then. And video game wise, my daughter Sammy was here just the other night and we just did some Jackbox.
And that's pretty cool. We like that.
There's a bar restaurant
Yeah, it's both.
here in Rochester called Nerdvana. And what it is every table has a video game set up, or you can get board games. And we did a Nintendo Switch table and we played, so while you were making your order, while you're waiting for the food and everything, we played Mario Kart and Jackbox.
It was actually pretty cool. I actually really liked it. I think it's a great idea. It's a little pricey, so I don't think they're going to draw the kind of crowd they want to, because I feel like that would really speak to a college-y crowd, but I don't think they'll draw that crowd. So hopefully they gain some more people because they weren't really super busy, and because we definitely would like to go back because it was fun.
Also, and this will tie it into gaming, it is also right across the street from the Strong Museum of Play.
Right.
And it is exactly across the street from the Dungeons and Dragons statue that they now have in the garden of the Strong Museum.
Which is really cute.
Of Play.
Very cool.
So, yeah. All right. Well, thanks for that call, Daniel. And thank you for joining me, Val. The rest of the calls don't involve you. I'm sure you don't want to hang around and hear me talk about gaming crap.
Stuff I don't know about, so no point in being here for that.
All right. Thanks for that call, Daniel.
Hey, Joe. Spencer here. Long-term listener. First-time caller. And yes, I'm ashamed to say that I've been prompted to call in because of your EastEnders episode. I've got to say, I'm not a fan of the show. I don't watch it, can't stand it, but it is still on. One thing that struck me was your description of Nick Berry as a kind of a geeky nerd character. If memory serves me right, he was supposed to be the kind of show heartthrob, albeit extremely unlucky in love. But it's one of those programs that everybody in it is having a miserable time. It's certainly not what you call escapism, and I ain't got time for that, I'm afraid. But really enjoyed the episode. I particularly enjoyed hearing your wife's thoughts on spousal sci-fi, and it's got me wondering whether I should invite my wife onto my show. She's not necessarily into sci-fi as such, but she does like her horror. Anyway, hopefully next time I call in, it might be about something gaming related. Take care.
Hey, Spencer, thank you very much for that call. I think you are the first UK feedback I've had, and I have a certain soft spot for the UK. As what started this whole call right here, I lived in the UK for 3 years, 1985 to 1988. My 2 oldest children were born there, and so they have like British birth certificates that were like handwritten in the town hall in the town of Brackley. Not that you've ever heard of Brackley, tiny little town in the Midlands and in Northamptonshire. Closest city might be Banbury. Some people have heard of that because of the nursery rhyme, ride a cockerel horse to Banbury Cross, whatever. Bicester, fairly large town nearby. I used to go to a record shop in Bicester to buy Christa Berg albums. Anyway, yeah, and my wife, of course, is British. You can't hear it in her voice unless you're around her when she's been drinking or if she's talking to her mother. But instead of having an English accent like you, she has a beautiful Scottish accent because she was born up by Glasgow way. In fact, when her cousin came over to visit a couple weeks ago at the airport, her cousin ran into Lewis Capaldi. I love his songs. Anyway, we're getting way off topic, but that's okay. This was an off topic conversation anyway, because you are telling me that Simon, played by Nick Berry in EastEnders, was not a geeky character, but kind of a heartthrob. So I had to look this up. And so rather than going through Google, I went straight to Wikipedia. And I think I looked up the song, Every Loser Wins. And I went to, or to Nick Berry, one of the two, and then to EastEnders. And yeah, I looked at his picture. No, that is not who I was thinking of at all. And so I had to look for Michelle Fowler to find out who she married. Apparently a lot of people. But the character I was thinking of was named Lofty Holloway. And he was played by a gentleman named Tom Watt. And I guess the reason why I conflate them is because I think that song, Every Loser Wins, is really supposed to be about Lofty and Michelle. We nearly made it. Anyway, when Michelle stands him up at the altar and everything. So, yeah, I know far too much about EastEnders. No, I do not blame you for not liking the show. I have nothing good to say about it. But while I was looking this up, I noticed that Tom Watt, who played this Lofty Holloway, was in another show called Space Patrol, which was by Jerry Anderson. And I got very excited when I saw this. No, it was called Space Precinct. I'm sorry. Space Precinct. And Jerry Anderson. And I was very excited when I saw this because I was like, could this be like a remake or a sequel to one of my favorite shows of all time? But it wasn't. But that show was called Star Cops, and it was on BBC. I'm stopping because it might have been on like Channel 3 or ITV or something. Back then, that was all the television: BBC One, BBC Two, ITV, and Channel 4. And the only thing I ever remember about BBC Two is that on Saturdays they just showed cricket and sheepdog trials. Channel 3 had a dart show I like to watch. Anyway, but Star Cops, an excellent show. And when I was talking about hard sci-fi with the episode I did with Evil Jeff, I'm surprised I didn't think of this because this is one of my favorite shows, and it's pretty hard sci-fi, and it takes place like 20 minutes in the future. It takes place on like an international space station, not the International Space Station, because the show was made in, like I said, I was there 85 to 88, so somewhere during that 3-year period, and we didn't have a space station at that time. But it takes place on a space station, and the lead character is just sort of a British guy. Nathan? I don't know. That might even be the actor. Don't quote me on this. But you get the feeling that he just lost his wife or something, so they're trying to find a new job for him. So they send him to the space station to be the International Space Station to be the cop there, and he has a little precinct on the space station, and they take care of crime. So it's like a procedural police show on a space station. It was pretty good, and that actually feeds into Jeff's idea that hard sci-fi shows really, or books, whatever, are really some other type of story. In this case, it's a police procedural, and the hard sci-fi is just the trappings, the setting around it. But that was a great TV show, and I want to say that the theme song was by like the Moody Blues, or maybe just Justin Hayward or John Lodge, one of them. It won't be easy without you. that's definitely Justin Hayward's voice. So it's not John Lodge. So it's either Justin Hayward or the Moody Blues. But it was a great show. I don't think it ever made it to DVD or anything. I would love to watch that again. Yeah. So, and the whole point of that was just to say, yes, the UK gave us EastEnders, but it gave us Star Cops, and Star Cops was great. So Spencer, yeah, I fully encourage you to have your wife on your show. It's great bringing the things you love most together. The person you love and the love of podcasting and the love of gaming, or whatever media you would talk about. It was a great experience having her on. I've already decided. I talked to her. We've decided, I guess, I'm going to have her on again towards the end of the year, another non-gaming show, but I was already planning on doing it anyway. I wanted to do an episode where I talked about all the movies I saw in the theater this year, give it a one-sentence review for each. She's going to join me for that, so we'll each give our take on each movie. Yeah, I might regret doing that. My original idea was to do it twice, like a 6-month thing and then at the end of the year, and I never did. So I'm afraid that it's going to be too long because we got the movies quite a bit. But yeah, we'll see, and it should be fun. But anyway, I'm going way off topic. Thanks for letting me know about EastEnders. Thanks for giving me the call. And I hadn't listened to your podcast before you called, so I threw it on my subscribe list and listened to a few episodes. It's a really nice podcast. I'm enjoying it. Anyway, thanks again. Hey everyone, that's it for this week. It's 9:00 already, and I need to push this out tonight, so I am wrapping it on this. I do have some episodes in the queue that I didn't get to this week. I will get to all those and any new ones next week. So it might be a long one, because after that, so next week is the last, the last Friday in September. There will be no Feedback Fridays during October at all. And then on November 1st, which is a Wednesday, that will be episode number 100. So for episode number 100, we're doing a giveaway. The details for that are in last Wednesday's show, episode 92. If you want to look it up, called Is James a Munchkin? And to be eligible for the giveaway, you just have to call in. You have to say, yes, James is a Munchkin. I suppose you could say the other thing if you wanted to and still win, I guess, if you want. Sure. In addition to that, give us an idea for a prize. I gave a couple ideas in that episode. This is a weird giveaway where we don't know what we're giving away. Jason had an excellent idea for a Munchkin dice bag, which I'm leaning towards that right now. So, but if you have another idea, by all means, give it as part of your entry. Keep in mind that I do have a budget. What else was I going to say? Yeah, so that's the production schedule until November. Yeah, because October's OSR October, and I'm going to be busy with my other job, so we're just the normal episodes, none of the feedback. And so next Friday is going to be a mega feedback episode, and then I'll have mega feedback episodes all November to get caught up. Again, thanks for listening. Feel free to send feedback at decahedron.com. Call the feedback line. The number is in the show notes. It's in the outro music. There are all the other ways, www.decahedron.com, or the play forums, www.decahedron.com/boards. Thanks again for listening. And until next week, happy gaming, happy life. Bye.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of the Decahedron RPG Cast. We'd love to hear from you. You can leave us a voice message by calling 562-774-2278. That's 562-RPG-CAST, or by visiting sayhi.chat/decahedron. You can also email us at feedback@decahedron.com. Links are in the show notes. For more information, visit decahedron.com. Remember that Decahedron is spelled with a K. Music is by Kevin MacLeod. Logos by Design Cat. Thanks again for listening, and until next time, keep those dice rolling.
Those cards that we play, they're like
Those cards that we play.
I know. There's like, I think we have like 4 or 5 sets of them. It's like you play monsters and I can't remember what it was. I think we were drinking when we were playing.
Are you talking Munchkin?
No, it's when Sammy was over. It was me and you and Sammy and Lauren.
Okay.
And you could get like you had like different characters and you had to like collect the characters. They're there. You're going to have to cut this out and redo it.
Yeah, we saw how much I did that last time.
I know.